Phone now to Vice Chairman Brady.
Thank you, Chairman Casey, for convening this important hearing. I want to welcome our witnesses as well. A good infrastructure is vitally important in the U.S. economy, providing Americans with millions of miles of roads, hundreds of thousands of bridges, tens of thousands of airports, dams, waterways, and transit lines, and hundreds of train stations and ports. Pro-growth policies such as low taxes, balanced regulation, and free market innovations drive the need for additional infrastructure in America. As a former local Chamber of Commerce executive, I can attest to the need for infrastructure as a critical precursor to spark economic development and attract businesses and communities large and small across America. Though America's infrastructure remains among the most advanced in the world, the American Society of Civil Engineers gave our infrastructure a letter grade D, highlighting that we have a long way to go till we can meet the current and future infrastructure needs of our growing country. The manufacturing sector is a critical input in infrastructure. With the provision of raw materials, industrial equipment, and the manufacturing sector is a beneficiary that relies on the nation's infrastructure to transport goods to compete in the global economy. In fact, the manufacturing sector has opened up the prospect for major energy infrastructure development. An excellent opportunity for long-term economic growth exists today in the form of the Keystone XL pipeline from Alberta to Texas, which would result in at least 20,000 new jobs affiliated with the pipeline. Long-term investment in infrastructure will help American manufacturing, including energy manufacturing, remain internationally competitive. Mr. President, I hope you would stop delaying these needed 20,000 American jobs. No one disputes the value of good infrastructure. However, planning and building infrastructure takes years, sometimes decades. Higher infrastructure spending cannot create a significant number of jobs in the near term. President Obama himself remarked months ago, shovel-ready was not as shovel-ready as we expected. According to the Federal Highway Administration, the Federal project delivery process can take up to 15 years from planning through construction. Environmental regulations and constraints on Federal funding can extend this timeline even farther, resulting in costly delays and routine cost overruns. The current system of Federal infrastructure spending is inefficient. U.S. taxpayers are not getting a good value for their dollars that they are currently spending on infrastructure. Research over the past decade indicates that the growth benefits from Federal infrastructure spending have been extremely low. The current system of Federal infrastructure spending is broken and must be fixed to make smart investments in good infrastructure projects. As an example, the GAO reviewed the Department of Transportation's system of 6,000 employees, administering over 100 separate surface transportation programs with separate funding streams for highway, transit, rail, and safety functions. The GAO determined this system was extremely fragmented and lacked accountability, impeding effective decision-making and limiting the ability to provide solutions to complex challenges. Analysis by the National Surface Transportation Policy and Revenue Committee found the project that should cost $500 million would actually take 14 years to complete and cost twice as much due to the impact of delays and inflation. Examples already abound at the State level of diverted funds originally allocated to infrastructure going to other budget items, suspended or altogether forfeited. All too frequently, infrastructure funding fails to reach high-priority projects, diverted instead to projects with little or no real benefit. Federal regulations, such as project labor agreements, high road contracting, Buy American provisions, and the Davis-Bacon Act, have unnecessarily increased the cost and lengthened the completion time of infrastructure projects. For example, the Davis-Bacon Act's prevailing wage requirements have led contractors to pay an average of 22% above the market wage rates and have bogged down contractors with extra paperwork. An environmental impact statement alone can take up to 2 years to complete. Major infrastructure projects often require the approval of other Federal agencies, such as the U.S. Fish and Wildlife Service, the Advisory Council on Historic Preservation, and the U.S. Army Corps of Engineers. For the good of manufacturing, infrastructure, and American workers, Federal regulators must consider how both proposed new rules and the cumulative burden of existing rules affect the ability of American businesses to create jobs at home by selling in global markets. Federal regulators must also begin to perform retrospective analysis to determine if existing regulations are meeting their goals in cost-effective ways. Congress should make it easier for the private sector to invest in transportation infrastructure, reducing the stress on already cash-strapped Federal resources. Major economies worldwide have demonstrated success in partially and fully privatized roads, water and sewage systems, seaports, and airports. America is behind the times when it comes to involving private capital in infrastructure development. The United States is capable of keeping up with other countries and excelling as a leader in infrastructure development. We can strive to achieve an A in infrastructure by addressing the systemic problems with our current means of funding infrastructure in conjunction with reform of burdensome regulations that impede the ability of both public and private provisions of infrastructure. Mr. Chairman, thank you, and I look forward to the witness's testimony.
Thank you, Vice Chairman Brady. I'll provide a brief introduction of our witnesses, and then we'll get right to